Good evening, and thanks to Gourmand Awards for really opening up a very, very different and a new world to a bureaucrat like me. It was a labor of love for printing this book of recipes of my mother, and this happened in 2013. And it's basically strangely that the Gourmand Awards gave an entirely new perspective to the book that Markings and I were working on. These were the recipes from a place called Dera Ismail Khan in Northwest Frontier Province in Pakistan. And you are all aware that in 1947, our country was divided into two, Pakistan and India, and my father, my mother, my grandfather, grandmother, they all migrated from Dera Ismail Khan to India, to Delhi. It was not just a migration of human beings that happened. It was also a migration of an entire culture that moved from Pakistan to India. It was the migration of an entire heritage, an entire cuisine that moved to India. And when I was a child, I used to hear so many stories every day from my parents, from my grandparents, about the life that they had left behind in Pakistan, about the culture that they had left behind. And they endeavored to create that culture, that heritage, that cuisine in Delhi, which was so far away from their roots. So actually this book was a journey to find one's roots. And my mother, and like many other mothers who migrated, remembered their roots and their culture by reliving their heritage and their culture in India. And this book is basically a manifestation of that roots, that connecting with the roots. And this was a cuisine that was entirely new to the area that they moved to in India. With the movement to India also moved the whole basis of making food, the whole agricultural practices of growing vegetables that were part of the cuisine. Those vegetables and those products no longer exist in Pakistan. And so it was something that had to be brought together, and this book is an endeavor to bring these two cultures together again. And I'm very thankful to Gourmand Awards for coming up with an idea of how cuisine, how culinary traditions can also promote peace. In this case, peace between India and Pakistan. And it was a unique experience, and I'm very thankful to Kiran and her team and Markings for really helping us come out with a very historical book which has widely been appreciated at a global level. You would have all heard about the historical context of partition and the way the migrants who moved to India and vice versa, the people who moved from India to Pakistan, how they rebuilt their lives from scratch, and how these cultural traditions, these cooking traditions were their basically anchors to their roots, to their past existence in Pakistan. I'm very happy that my sister is here, who's flown in from USA, who actually, my two sisters are now the bearers of this whole tradition and still connect us to our roots in Pakistan. I would like to also invite Kiran up to the stage to talk a little bit about how she was able to give this whole new perspective to the book by printing this book in two languages, Hindi and Urdu. It's probably the very first time that a bilingual book has been brought out so that it could be understood in Pakistan also, because in Pakistan people do not read Hindi, which is our language now in India. So we translated that into Urdu, and what a beautiful book Kiran has been able to bring out. Kiran, why don't you come on the stage?
Thank you, Atul. So, as a publisher, when I met Atul, what touched me the most is there was a son who wanted to do a book for his mother. And that is something that really struck a chord with me. And I think we were thinking of English and Hindi, but I felt that since his mother was born in Pakistan and a primary language there is Urdu, we wanted to bring the two cultures together in a more meaningful way, and we decided to do the book in Urdu and Hindi. Luckily for us, Urdu starts from left to right and Hindi starts from right to left. So we were able to bring both the sides together and complete the cookbook. The only struggle that we kind of faced was that we weren't well versed in Hindi. So the Hindi side developed in India and the Urdu side of the book was developed by us in Pakistan. And then we we printed in Pakistan and then we launched it in India and Pakistan. And I feel this heartfelt endeavor by Atul and his family has taken us to so many different countries. I would like to thank Gourmand, who first recognized the book as an avenue for peace between two countries, two cultures, bridging gaps between two nations. Like we have this on the slide with Israel, Palestine, Turkey and Cyprus, and there are many more books like this that Gourmand has recognized. And the other thing was that we went to China for a talk on peace and food. And then the consecutive year in 2015, we received an award for the book. And there onwards, we've been to India with the book and Bhutan, and we were invited by Gourmand to Paris. So this journey continues, and we never thought we would be here one day, but we are today. So thank you all for being here and recognizing our book again. Thank you.
Thank you, Piran. And I'll like to just conclude by reiterating that the power of food we did not realize could transcend borders and could bring people together. The way this book has brought this whole Pakistan community so close to the Indian community through this book. And I also never realize that when my mother, she's unfortunately no more, was writing this book by hand, would have even realized what her effort would bring to her children and what exposure that book would bring to the children of meeting up with such a new community which we were never linked to before. So thanks Gourmand for giving us this opportunity, and thanks Markings for bringing us here. Thank you.